I think from now on every episode is going to be a hard watch, not necessarily because it'll probably get emotional very often, but simply the fact that I'm here witnessing a lot of characters with creative talents that I can only dream of. But this is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make because Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night episode 2 is here and has been here for several weeks now. But we are introduced to the third member of Jelly, the group, which has about 35,000 followers on Twitter right now, on real Twitter. So they still have some 60,000 and some more to go until they reach their initial goal of 100,000 followers. Back to the topic though, the episode starts with a girl unknown to us sitting in front of a piano that kinda resembles Kano a little bit, and there's also a reason why they two resemble each other, which we'll get to later in this episode. We then have the opening and a scene where with Mahiru and her sister, who is glad that Mahiru took on drawing again, and I'm glad too because I would not want such a creative talent go to waste. In the next scene we have Kano back with Mahiru, seemingly working in a cafe or something like that, and we get to witness their struggles for resources like money and a composer for their music. Well, good thing that whales are not only a thing in MMOs, but also for idols, because this is the reason why a mysterious girl enters the cafe and drops a fat stack of cash on their donation box, like I do on the occasional gacha banner. More precisely 100,000 yen. A lot of green paper for the jellyfishes, and I hope they do not plan to spend this money overseas, because the yen exchange rate right now looks like my bank account after a night out at my favorite sushi place. Which is kinda nice if you live outside of Japan, but obviously not applicable here. But why does this girl now give out money like candy here? Well, it turns out that Kano as an ex-idol has hardcore sims, and she's one of them, and she does not hide it at all. Like, at all. This is something that you would normally be happy about, having someone who is that supportive of you and your creative ambitions. But there is a catch with her obsession though. The Kano that she fell in love with is the one that she used to be, not the one that is standing in front of her right now, which is a problem in their eyes because Kano does not want to go back to her old ways, obviously, which she makes very clear in this situation, going as far as even returning the money, which she regrets like 3 milliseconds later. By the way, during the whole interaction, Mahiru is just standing there awkwardly, unable to really say anything, which is understandable because this is definitely something that Kano as an ex-idol has to deal with her herself. After the interaction ends, we could think that this is the end and this is the last thing we're gonna see of this girl, but as goofy as everyone in the show seems to be, Kano and the girl, mix up their bags, which is a good thing because through listening to a recording device, Mahiru and Kano actually find out that she's a very talented artist, or musician in this case. And after finding that out, Kano actually wants to go for round 2, now convincing her to join Jelly. So they track her down, go to her school, and have a conversation between the three of them. Although it is more like the two of them again, because again, Mahiru cannot do much except provide emotional support for Kano here, which is again very understandable. Unfortunately, it comes down to the same results in round 2. Kano wants to forget her past, and Kim wants her to remember it. Also, the girl's called Kim, if I've not mentioned it before. Now, in the next scene is something that I've personally wanted to see the entire episode, which is the past of Kim and how she became how she is right now. And it turns out that Kim actually had a rough school life. She was bullied by her peers, and through a past event of Kano, they started talking and realized that they have a lot of points in common. The gloomy Kim, unable to shine by herself, is now the second person in this anime that we know of that receives light from Kano, even so much that she wants to change her hair color to match that of Kano's. Finally, we have now the conclusion of this episode, which consists of the scene from the beginning, except now, of course, we know who is the person behind the piano, and also Mahiru and Kano joining in the school, or wherever she's performing, to listen to performance and cheering her on, which in turn gives her confidence and finally makes her have the decision to join Jelly. What a nice episode. I am very glad that the studio met my expectations and didn't just pour everything into the first episodes like you see sometimes shows do here and there. I am also liking the pacing so far. We have 3 members now by the end of episode 2, so if we keep up the pacing, we might see a lot of full-fledged adventures from the girls from here on. Production-wise, I do not feel like this episode had a drop-off at all, which makes me happy because I was kind of worried in episode 1, but I'm very optimistic now for the future and I hope they keep it up also now for the future episodes. As for how it is going to continue, I'm not quite sure. I guess they can just keep introducing the next member. If not, I think they will probably just take a small break to actually create content, but we will see. One thing I know for sure is that we will be there covering it, so I will see you in the next one. Bye.